it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are we all doing? I'm doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. This is Mark from the States, of course. You know who I am. Come sit with me. I'm excited to watch this with you. I started watching Shawn Ryan show. If you haven't watched the Shawn Ryan show on YouTube, link will be in description. You must. Great channel. It's long form interviews and just the people he talks to. A lot of them special forces guys, Americans, some British, regular Army guys talking about missions, really, really cool things. And I just know a lot of you, if you don't already watch his show, you would dig it. I really believe you'll dig it. So, reason why I'm bringing him up today, he did an interview with the man, the myth, the legend, Christian Craighead. And here on SAS Saturday, we're going to get into some of the interview. The interview, again, it's 3.5 hours long. I'm not going to show the whole thing. You got to go to Shawn Ryan Show's channel and watch the interview from the beginning. He talks about his childhood, his upbringing, all the way through to where we're at now. So, really cool and insightful things. I stopped it at this point because I thought it would be interesting because this takes place right after. We all know the story of what happened in Kenya. Okay? This takes place right after in his story that he's telling. It's not a story, it's real life. In this part of the interview, he'll start talking about what happened after. And I thought this would be interesting for us to watch together because he talks about, I believe, he comes and meets the president. Okay, and then there's something I didn't even know about, and maybe some of you already did, that there's some issue going on with him and his government, your government. So this should be interesting to find out what the deal is. I had no idea. I had no idea. I'm sure a lot of you probably did, but it's just going to be interesting to hear from him. So far, the interview itself has just been incredible. But please, again, I cannot say it enough. Go support Shawn Ryan Show. Watch the whole interview. It is so good. And then just deep dive into all the other. He talks to other people who aren't in the military as well, but a lot of it is these guys, and they talk about their experiences, and it's just really insightful and just cool because some of these guys are just crazy. Not like out of their mind crazy, but just the things that they've gone through is crazy. And so yeah, big fake couch. Let's do this. It's going to probably be half hour or something like that, I think. So just kind of looking at the timestamp down there at the bottom. So it should take a little while, but it's going to be interesting to see how all this transpires and what's really going on. So shall we? I think so. Let's do it.
Where did you go after the incident? After you left Kenya? Where did you go? Did you go back to UK?
Back to UK eventually. And
how were you received?
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
And it still is today. My peers, everyone was like, and this is the odd thing, people, if you don't know, in the military, normally, even if you do something good, even jokingly, they'll give you a bad time. They'll be like, I can't believe you're wearing Armani jeans or you were doing this. No, this was strange. This was everyone was like, even people who I respect for this, guy saying, I didn't see eye to eye with you in the past. I don't want to say we're friends, but I'm proud to know you.
Wow.
And that was, to me, was that took balls to say that. The guy who said that was a good guy I was on selection with. I respect that. Say, I wasn't your friend. I didn't really like you, but I'm proud that I know you. And people sit still to this day, stopping cars, getting out, going, shaking my hand, And the oddest thing was it was the old guard guys who were in the SAS in the 80s, before the 80s and 90s, and I thought they'd be critical. And not only they're positive about you're a great ambassador for the SAS. What you did is the epitome of what the SAS is supposed to be about. They're saying that, and I'm like, and then they're adding in about social media. Yeah, my daughter, my son follows you on social media, and it's great what you do. We're really proud of you. Just keep doing it. Keep being a good ambassador for the regiment. So that's always good. And the thing with the book One Man In, I wrote it. They originally told me I could write a book. Then I changed. I tried to clear it. It didn't get released. I took it to court, lost that. I'm trying to appeal that. The bottom line is, it's highly unlikely that anyone's going to read One Man In anytime soon.
Did I even know that he wrote a book about his experience? I don't remember, but gosh, now him saying that it's probably not going to be released, I'm so bummed. I wish. Oh man.
But even if I lose the appeal, people change, policies change,
right?
Positions change.
People don't realize what's happening, so we have to go into that. They don't realize that it's in court.
Yeah, it's been to court and failed, and so I wrote a book called One Man In. I did ask before I retired, could I write a book about the incident, and they said yes, work with disclosure. I worked with disclosure, and then there was a change of mind somewhere along the line, and then they said I couldn't. I then tried to make redactions. They weren't interested whatsoever. And then, so I took it for a judicial review, lost the judicial review, and now I'm appealing the judicial review. It's highly unlikely that I'm going to win any appeal.
Why do you think they're trying to suppress the story?
I can't. There's a public ruling out there that you can read it. It's what I'll say about the incident is I've just said about my peers and members of the SAS and public got nothing but support for me. But in my opinion, there's a lot of people, the establishment did not like what I did that day. They didn't.
Wow. That's just, a lot of you who will eventually watch this, or who have, maybe you've already seen this, when he talks about, he's not really allowed, since there's a lot of legal things going on, it's in court, and whether it's the book or just whatever, he can't really talk about what happened. So there are times when Shawn is asking him about it, he can't comment, you know. A lot of you know, I know the gist. You don't know the whole story, of course. And so it would have been cool to be able to have him say it, and maybe in earlier interviews, like right after it happened, if they're out there, he explains it more into detail, maybe. But we've all seen the videos on it and just how crazy it was just in those videos. So, but you can, when he's talking about it, you can just see how uncomfortable he is, and it's like he doesn't want to be a superstar. He's not, you know, which is probably right along the, you know, I'm not here to be famous, and but yeah, this is a bummer about him and his ordeal that he's going through with some members of the government.
Not like what I did. And it's maybe, is it personal towards Chris Craighead? Maybe, maybe not. But it's definitely personal to what Chris Craighead represents, which is one man, not showing no compromise, standing up to evil, taking on evil head on without permission, and putting everything on the line.
Is that why
and
they're
that's
upset?
The nature of special forces operations, I thought, was it's a high stakes game. I didn't just risk my life. Because if that had been a failure, I would have been the scapegoat. So I risked my
career,
my physical life and my life in general.
Yeah.
I risked everything. And I didn't want anything for it. People were being murdered and no one was doing anything. So I did something. And people don't like that. And here's the thing. So from a good example is a senior member of the British military. I've had said Christian Craighead is a bad example to young soldiers because his mutineer attitude promotes lawlessness in the military.
Oh my God.
And clearly that's a... someone said, I heard that from 5 different people, 5 independent sources, and I'm not going to pinpoint the exact person who said that because the 5 people who told me, they said 3 people said one person and 2 people said another. So, but they're similar jobs, so it was just a mix-up of abbreviations. But yeah, senior member of the British military. That's his view. I've also heard of people in the Foreign Office saying, "Oh, Chris Craighead, he shouldn't have done that thing in Kenya." There's lots of people in the Foreign Office who completely, really support me, in a big way. But there's also senior members of the Foreign Office saying he shouldn't have done that. He could have messed everything up.
How's that? How could you have messed everything up?
Yeah, because if I'd failed, it would have been potentially they could have said, "Well, it's all failed because of that man."
If he were to fail, it would have looked bad on the SAS and the British military. Oh God, that is not a reason not to do it. There are 700 people or so who are thankful that he did act. I mean, that is just... It must just tear him up, too. When did that happen? I don't remember. Was it like in 2015? He's going to go meet, I think he meets Obama. Doesn't he? I don't know. We're going to find out.
So I would have been the scapegoat and it would have looked bad for everyone else. But that's it. And these people, like these generals and these politicians and these other people who've never said, and no one's took me and said, "Thanks for what you did." No one British high-ranking official.
Not one British high-ranking official.
I got a nice letter from a government official straight after the incident and a phone call, but he got his fingers wrapped for that. He's no longer a minister, or he is a minister, but he's not in Parliament. Or whatever. You
saved 700 people that day, and they're treating you like you need to be punished.
And it was the... what I want to say to people is, the last time I fucking checked, the motto of 22 SAS is, who dares wins, not who asks for permission wins.
Holy crap.
People need to remember that.
You could tell he's just angry.
Yeah. But then... President Trump. Had them
I thought it was Obama. Oh gosh, I didn't know it was going to be Trump. This should be interesting. So it was during the Trump administration. Okay. So it was, what was this, 20? Well, I don't know the exact year, but it was after 2016. Okay.
Privileged to meet the President of the United States of America.
You got to meet, this is after the incident?
Yeah.
How long after?
10 months after.
10 months?
10 months.
Why were you here?
So before we go into the meeting the President of the United States of America, there's a reason why I said the President of the United States of America is to everyone watching this. Can we just leave these, like, the personal, like, this was President Trump.
The disclaimer.
It doesn't matter that it was President Trump. It was the President of the United States of America.
Exactly.
I was a guy, a young boy who was dealt a hand in life, destined to fail, born in a council house, single parent at that time in a poor area with no particularly good skill set. Yet 43 years later, I'm in the White House.
You need to go back and watch from the beginning. He talks about all of that. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, I thought it was Obama that he was meeting. It doesn't tell you in the, it just says, oh, actually, you know what? It does. It said 45th. Oh gosh. Now I feel really dumb. I got my numbers mixed up. Trump is 45. Obama's 44. I was thinking Obama was 45. I think is what I must have. Anyway, not important. So far, this has just blown my mind about how not being able to get his book released, the issues with some military leaders / government officials who were like, he could have ruined the reputation. They would rather have him not do it. It's so wild. And you could just see the anger kind of come out when he was dropping the F-bomb there. And you can see how that just isn't sitting well with him at all. And I don't blame him. It's just, I'm shocked. I thought, to you and I, he is just, yes, hero. Of course, he's a hero. But to you and I, he's this like legend, right? Icon. And there are some people who are like, yeah, we wish he would have. He's a bad example. It's just like, what planet are you on, dude? You need to get your priorities straight. And there's always those people in the government. It doesn't matter if it's British government, American government, whoever. There's always those people who are, this is so wild.
This is a good story. It's not a political message. It's my life story. It's a story of my life of me meeting the president. So now we're going to continue.
It sucks.
Just for anyone who's going to get triggered.
People have to say that. Yeah.
So yeah, I was going to.
Hopefully,
I was in the United States to brief a military unit about what I did in Africa, in Kenya, and a friend of mine, a friend of a friend, was like speaking to the Secret Service. The Secret Service was super keen to talk to me because they wanted to know about hotels and lessons that I learned and things that they could use. And so they said, could you, when you on your way to do this presentation, could you come and just give us some of our team leaders and some of our senior members want to talk to you and ask you some questions about the incident? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And then about a week or two before I'm supposed to go there, I get a phone call from the guy who's hosting me. And he said, have you ever been to the White House? I'm like, no. He goes, well, bring a suit, because once you talk to our guys, we'd love to take you to the White House and give you a tour of the White House and show you around. I'm like, that's really
awesome.
Nice. Look forward to it. That's that. So the day comes, I'm speaking to the Secret Service, and then we get changed. Meanwhile, in the White House, in the West Wing, Sheila Craighead is the director of photography, and she's got a finger on the pulse. She's connected to everyone, and she's the mover, and she's one of the movers and shakers in the West Wing.
So no relation.
And she knows my story. I didn't know Sheila Craighead at that time, but she'd been told by the Secret Service, this guy's coming, and da-da-da. So she then speaks to the vice president's team and said, just so it's on your radar, there's this guy who, can remember that guy who did this thing? And they're like, yeah. Well, he's coming to the White House today, just so you know. And they went, okay. And she speaks to the National Security Advisors people as well, just so you know. And they go, oh, that's good. They then speak to their respective bosses, and as we're en route into the White House, the Secret Service get a phone call and they say, oh, the Vice President, Mike Pence, wants to chat with Chris Craighead. And they're like, all right, you got to go and see the Vice President. So I'm like, okay. I haven't got my phone, so I can't ask for permission. Not that I would anyway, but...
oh, my gosh.
So I then go and meet Mike Pence, see him, have a quick chat, and then carry on with the tour of the White House. Mike Pence, I believe, mentioned to the National Security Advisor, Ambassador Robert O'Brien, and says, "Hey, that guy, Chris Craighead, is in the White House." And the NSA is like, I definitely want to speak to him. So the Secret Service got a phone call again. You got to bring him back into the West Wing. Ambassador O'Brien wants to speak to him. So then they send me into Ambassador O'Brien. What a great guy. Super bright. But the great thing about Ambassador Robert O'Brien is not only is he bright, but he's super pleasant as well. So he's, again, I keep on saying laser focused. You loads, as a national security advisor should do. You was talking to me about situations going on. What do you think about this? What was your issue? We here, there, then. So I had a really good chat with him for about, I think it was about 45 minutes, which is some going for a man of who I am to speak to someone like that in the White House and busy people. And then he's like,
definitely out of his element.
Have you spoke to POTUS yet? And I'm like, so that's the President of the United States. And I'm like, no. He goes, well, I know he wants to chat to you. All right, let's go. And I'm like, it's a whirlwind. This is like a whirlwind. So he stands up, come on, let's go.
That's crazy.
Out through the Secret Service, like, oh, Chris, this way. And he's like, no, Ambassador O'Brien, no, we're just going to see POTUS. And they're like, all right, this is getting big. so then we move through past the receptionist.
You could just tell how uncomfortable he is just in retelling the story. But I can only imagine how uncomfortable he was at the moment, having to be ushered around like that to all these people who want to talk to him and want to meet him. He's probably like, I'm not a celebrity, you know. But just crazy. This story is just wild.
So then we move through past the receptionist, and then they say, just wait in here. So I'm in this room, and they say, just wait here, and they go into another door, and I can hear voices inside. So inside now, there would be basically that room is the president's private study, and I'm in this room just kicking my heels by myself. And as I said to you last night, I think I've got the dubious honour of being the only person who's been in the Oval Office who didn't know he was in the Oval Office. So, I'm in the Oval Office and don't realise I'm in the Oval Office by myself.
That's hilarious.
The door opens, I hear some talking and stuff, and then and in there is, and then I walk in and I'm met by President Trump.
Wow.
And he looks at me, walks over, puts his hand out, and the first thing he says to me is, "Thank you for saving American lives."
Whoa.
Is that the first person that thanked you from a high-ranking government position?
Yes. Well, no. In person, yes. Immediately after the incident, there was a government minister from UK phoned me up and sent me a letter. That was it.
Nope.
Now keep in mind, obviously it's just because he's there is why he's getting the thanks in person. But he went to the UK right after, and he didn't come to the States till 10 months. 10 minutes later. That is, wow. But just, oh God, that gave me chills. And just thank you for saving American lives, because he did. That's what he did. He saved a bunch of people. Americans, Kenyans, who knows how many, British. I'm sure there were some British people there. I mean, probably people from all over. Insane.
Nobody from your own country.
No,
personally came up to you.
People from the army.
To thank you for what you did.
People from the army. People from, like members of the military, members of any of the diplomats in Kenya did. but no one outside that, and no one ever has since either.
Wow.
And but
That's
President Trump.
That's the crazy part. No one has since. Wow. Wow. I feel terrible. It just must. It's just awful.
He was, thank you for saving American lives.
Yeah, that's.
Which, if you don't, you can. We chatted about a lot of other stuff, but if you think, if you just park all your opinion or whatever, think about that. I went into that private study. There was no media there. The British government didn't know about it. So in theory, there's absolutely no gain whatsoever for the president. No gain at all.
Mm-hmm.
But he took time out to thank me for saving Americans. Something to think about. Something to acknowledge, I'd say.
That's cool. I mean,
yeah, and then we left, and then I got shown around the Oval Office by Ambassador O'Brien and things, and then
that's so funny that he didn't know he was in the Oval Office.
It was
I mean, why would he?
strange days. Let's say wasn't very well received from to the British government.
They found out about it?
Yeah, so I gave President Trump a coin, a challenge coin, and I got a Trump president coin. So I was calling the guys up saying, "Hey, you can't believe this. I met the president yesterday and gave him a coin," and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then someone said, "Have you told the commanding officer?" And I went, "No." They went, "You probably should do." Oh. And then and that's what I thought, and I told them. Basically, long story short, I told them, and all hell broke loose.
Oh no!
The big thing, I'm not giving them a free pass, but from a Foreign Office point of view, it's like a huge breach of protocol. My argument is, I didn't have any say in it, and I'm certainly not going to say, "Hey, the president wants to see you," and you go, "No, I've got to ask permission first."
How does that even work?
There's a bit of a pattern forming here, but yeah, I'm not going to say. So I had to go with the flow. But apparently they're still not happy about it today.
I wonder if they're upset because it was Trump, or like if it were Obama. Would they have cared as much? Or is it just about, hey, you can't be meeting dignitaries from other countries without our knowledge in general? Kind of like a general rule. I'm curious. That's what an experience for him to go through. What started off as just him talking to like the Secret Service and getting his feedback so they can learn from him, to then meeting Pence, which is okay, he's the vice president. Nice consolation prize.
And I'm sure there'll be some backlash from what I'm saying this now. I mean, I don't know how.
So who was upset?
The Foreign Office and I think it's the whole.
The Foreign Office is upset that the President of the United States thanked you.
It's because I broke. It's like the breach of protocol. It's like what we said. People don't like successful things. Wow. Certain officers of the time of that command in my unit didn't like it. Maybe because they got shit from the Foreign Office. Who knows? They're not there anymore. But so that was it. And then
hold on. What's that conversation like?
Yeah.
Hey, you just saved 700 people in Kenya from being murdered, and the President of the United States just said thank you for saving American lives. How do you turn that into a negative?
Yeah. But apparently, just so you know,
is that what they think about? Do they think that way about all Americans?
This was the statement I make, and if anyone's watching, like I'm not going to obviously say who said it, But this was said to me over the phone when I was in America was, you've undermined the SAS, the army, the government and the country.
Oh my God. Are you oh my God. That's wild. Yeah, it's interesting to hear this. It's about, yeah, you wonder if it's because if, like he mentioned earlier, if it went bad, if he weren't able to be successful in what he did, it would look bad on the military or the SAS specifically. But it didn't. I mean, even if it didn't work out, let's say he went in and got killed himself or, wasn't able to save people. I still think, the fact that he did it, that he, stood up and did it, that's what makes, it's not so much that he was successful. Yeah, the fact that he's successful just shows how much these dudes are legends, the dudes in the SAS and whatnot. But I think what makes them who they are is the fact that he did do it. Nobody else was going to do it. These special forces guys, elite, right? They stand up when nobody else will, and I think that's what makes them legends. And it just so happens that this was a positive result times 10, and there's still guys who are so, I don't know, butthurt, I guess would be the word to use. I don't know. I'm shocked by this. It just has affected me in a negative way hearing that. Because there's guys and people like that in every government, not just the British government. There are those in the American government. Probably more than enough of those in the American government, in the French government, whoever you're talking about, there are those people. And it's just, I feel so bad for him to have to hear that. So bizarre.
So
I can't even imagine the amount of rage that festered.
But I'm going to
inside
reiterate
of you.
something. I have got no issue with my old unit, the SAS. I'm super proud to be there. But I have got issues with elements of the government, the MOD, and and some ex-command members of the unit. But that's it. And then it gets better or worse, and then this story will evolve into about a month later. Is I'm back in London, so I'm back in London. I'm still living in Hereford, and it's Christmas time, and this was kind of, I think, the final straw for where Chris Craighead sits in the British Army. But, and like I say, I'm not bitter or anything. This is a good story.
Okay.
So I'm in London. Get a phone call, withheld number. I think it's work. I'm like, hello? Yeah, this is the special assistant to the US ambassador to UK. He's on the line waiting to talk to you. Can you take a call? I'm like, yeah. So I answer the call, and he's like, hey Chris, this is Woody Johnson. I've just been speaking to Portis about you. He says you're a good stand-up guy. I'd love to meet you for coffee. I know you're in London, so do you want to come and round for a coffee? Like now? I'll hold all my meetings.
Now?
I'm like, yes, Mr. Ambassador, I'm on my way. So I was like, okay. So I then went back to the shop I just walked out of and put my shopping behind and said, you couldn't do me a favour, I couldn't leave these here, I've got to do something. So I'm like, yeah. So getting a taxi. Felt like being in a movie. I'm getting a taxi, take me to the US Embassy. And it's like, and then we go to the drive to the embassy. People are waiting for me straight up to the ambassador's office. And then there's Ambassador Woody Johnson. He's like, hey, great to meet you. And so we then have a chat, have a cup of coffee, Great guy, really interesting things to say, asking me questions. It was fun. I'm then about to leave, and he says, "Hey, I've got something to ask you."
Oh,
okay.
no.
He goes, I'm having drinks around my house tonight. I would love you to come round. And I'm like, yeah, Miss Ambassador, I'm just in town doing some shopping. I'm wearing jeans, a turtleneck sweater, and a pea coat. So I look like an assassin. So I look like, and I'm like, this is the only clothes I've got. And he goes, no, it's my party. You just come. People will just be wearing suits anyway, so just come round, and it's my party. I'm like, well, I said, to be honest, Mr. Ambassador, when I saw President Trump, I got in a lot of hot water for this, so it's kind of going to happen again if I do it. He went, sort it out, whatever you need my assistant to do, we'll make it happen.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, okay. It then says, oh, there's one more thing.
Oh my.
I'd love for you to, usually I as the US representative, I say something to all the people here. I'd love for you to say something on behalf of Great Britain.
No
and I'm
way.
Like, so can you put together with my assistant a 3 to 5 minute presentation on what you did, why you did it, and what the special relationship means to you?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, okay. So it's like, so then I phone work.
That's, boy, he had no problems asking, hey, yeah, come for coffee now. Oh, by the way, can you come to my party tonight? I don't know. Yeah, make it happen. You'll figure it out. Come. Oh, and one last thing. I need you to do the talk. So come up with 5, I mean, I don't know if anybody knows, ever wrote a speech or a talk. 3 to 5 minutes is an eternity. It's, oh my gosh. How much time did he have to do this? That's Woody Johnson. This is so unbelievable, right?
Speak to whoever, and they're like, yeah, you got to speak to the commander. Commander's like, yeah. He actually says, yeah, who does wins, go do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Fine.
That's cool.
So then speak to them, it's all set. So I'm now feel a bit better that at least my unit know this time. And then, so then I go and get my shopping. This is about 4:30 in the afternoon, by the way. And this event is happening at 6:30. So in my mind, I'm putting together this presentation.
You don't have enough time.
So I then go to the Belstaff, get my gear, turn up at the ambassador's residence with my shopping, and they let me in. And basically then they're saying, when all the guests are turning up, I'm stood next to the ambassador and his beautiful wife, dressed like they must have thought I'm some CIA hitman or something. He's CIA muscle or something. And then there was lots of like powerful people, including government ministers and such.
Yeah.
Obviously, nothing's obvious, but I won't say any names or who was there.
Sure.
But it was when I looked at the guest list, I was like, okay, yeah, feeling pretty uncomfortable now.
Now?
So it was the high society, and so then they're all there mingling. I'm sure it's about 150, 200 people. He's got, and they said the ambassador is going to give his bit. You then give your bit, and then kind of if you want, like raise your glass and take a drink and stuff like that. Okay. So he's doing his talk, and I'm like going through my presentation. It's like the Matrix going on inside my mind. I'm going, oh, I'm going to say this, or that. So he then hands me a mic, and I didn't know it was going to be another mic. But then I go into my presentation, and it's going well. Do you know when you're giving this talk, and do you know when you think I'm on fire, I'm good.
Yeah.
And
you could
to
see
me,
the emotion of the
and
crowd.
you could see people responding and stuff, and it was good. So then I finish, and then at the end, I'm like messing around with the mic to try and put the mic back down and grab my drink. Everyone starts clapping and applauding me. I'm like, oh, God, I was supposed to do like a drink. I don't know where it came from, but it was like spur of the moment. I've got quite a loud voice when I've got it. So I grabbed the drink and I went, ladies and gentlemen. And everyone's like, stop. I went, God save the Queen and God bless America.
Wow. Oh, I just got goosebumps.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And Ambassador Johnson then used some decidedly undiplomatic language and went, "That's brilliant." So it's like,
How was that received?
yeah, not good.
Was there blowback?
Oh, no.
I didn't hear anything firsthand. When I told the commander of my unit,
Oh, no.
he seemed to be pleased and things. But from insiders in the headquarters, they were saying that the normal point was, who does he think he is? And then a friend of mine who was working there, he apparently said, "Well, what do you think he was going to do? Stop telling me he wasn't going to do it."
Right.
But it was. I'm glad it happened. But I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Man.
With them. And then, like I said, so that was a point in my life when I was like, a few months after that, I felt like I wasn't going to be in a position to give anything back to the army and my unit. So I was like, I asked if I could write a book about it. They said yes. There's some other factors, and I thought, well, now's the time to get out. 28 years.
Oh, my gosh. That was awesome. I'm going to stop it there. You've got to go back and watch the beginning of the video, or not my video, but the of Shawn Ryan's show, his interview. It is so good. And I have a little bit left that I'm going to watch after I get done with this video. Just excellent. And like I said, a lot of them they have, a lot of the people they talk to, a lot of the people they talk to on the show, on his channel here, are so good. So I really know you'll like it if you don't already. I'm heartbroken for Christian. I really am. To have to go through that. He was put in really kind of extreme circumstances. And I'm not talking about Kenya. I'm talking about meeting these people, the White House, kind of forced in. I mean, how do you say, no, Mr. President, I've got to get permission to be able to talk to you? I don't know who would expect him to have to, or say, no, I can't talk to POTUS. That I can only imagine what they got to talk about. How cool would it be to be a fly on that wall? And then, of course, he probably could have gotten permission from a lot of people. I guess he did. He did get permission to go to the ambassador's house, but that, God save the Queen moment, that gave me goosebumps. I was like, yes, that was so cool. I hope you enjoyed this, because I am enjoying it immensely. Go support Shawn Ryan Show channel. It is amazing. He's got a website as well. Go get lost on his channel, and you'll trust me. Trust me. Thanks for coming. Hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. I appreciate all of you, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right. Take care. Bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark, and he's from